Good afternoon, boys, and thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the Antares News Network. My name is Jordash, not Jordak or Jordake, and I'll be your lovely host again. Hello, people in chat. Hello, Mads Fold Gas, who just started this game 20 minutes ago. Gonna let you know you made a mistake right now. I think we have a pretty unique lineup for today. We have a lot of non-meta stuff going on today. We almost had a crash in the lowers with Belwar launching to 09, but we'll talk about that later. But let's talk about our actual guests. The first guests are a couple weirdos from Wolf in the 40s, Lunazy and Megadeth. They're surprisingly a father and son duo, but that's probably what they tell the admins, but what are you going to do? After that, we're going to have another weirdo from the 40s, who's Mojo, the GM of 4849. He wasn't able to come on. Today he had work stuff come up, but we recorded a little something last night. It's real short. It's like, it ended up being 7 minutes, so that'll be real short. After that, we're going to be talking to the Wooden man Wodan, a known consort of both Scotty and the Boomers. And Wodan has prepared an Antares-related poll, so let me post that link for you guys right now. Oh, Frosty, do you think you've evolved from being a sack of potatoes? Can anyone vouch for you not being a sack of potatoes? Not hearing anything. But the poll that Wodan prepared for you guys, it's an important question regarding who you think is the worst Zerger of Antares. But most importantly, Wodan made it so you can vote multiple times and make the results be what you want them to be. And as we're in between breaks and stuff, we'll show the results. You'll get to see as it's evolving as the show goes on. A late addition to today's show, we're also going to talk to Seldon, who's playing up in the 40s. And we're mostly going to talk about just the good old days of some old servers. He doesn't have too much going on in the 40s right now, but he's just going to have fun. We're going to talk about some old stuff. And he messaged me 5 hours before the start of today's show saying, oh, I can actually come on. So that was real fun getting that put together real quick. He's lucky he was a Gamma News Network original from a decade ago. Zahaga was almost on the show today, and I was going to blast him for it because he said, when I first asked him to come on, he's like, yeah, sure, I'll come on. And then he didn't respond to any of my questions like, hey, make sure to add me on Discord. Friendly reminder, add me on Discord so we can get this going. And I was like, this motherfucker hasn't responded to me. He's ghosted me. He's going to get slammed on the show. But then late last night, he's like, oh, I guess you don't want me on the show. I was like, what are you talking about? But so we're going to try to get him on next week. We'll see what happens there. I fixed that music break, the break music volume from last week. I must have bumped it at some point. So you're not going to get blasted by whatever video game music I have playing this time. Let's see. Before I dive into any Antares talk, there are a couple of non-Antares headlines that I did want to talk about. First is just a small one. On Friday morning in the Discord, Hellsfire argued with everyone that Corvettes get better ratios than fighters against basically anything, which was untrue. That was the whole story, by the way. But he argued with a lot of people about it and tried to use math to disprove it, but also prove that he doesn't know how to use a battle calculator. The next real big story has to do with the mini server start that happened over part of last week. Which, let me change the scene here. All right. Oh, thanks for the follow, bud. There we go. Let me get back on script. Yep, I have to talk about the mini server start that took place because there was a ton of drama that happened over the last week. And I know this screen looks super cluttered, and it'll hopefully never be this cluttered again on a future episode, but it's okay, I'll explain it. On the left over here, we have a poem that was written by Frosty Goblin about Jide, also known as First Blood, who lost his 5th match of the mini server starts, which is all of them. So he is permanently defeated. I lost my place. Oh my god, embarrassing. But, I talked about this a little bit last week. They get these two teams of about 10 people, and they just start in some old server, and they fight each other as hard as they can. They always schedule it for a whole week out, but it never actually lasts that long. This time the winner was called on Wednesday morning, and once again, First Blood's team lost, which put him at 0-5. Some big events that happened on the mini server start is when Alicus was the first player to rage quit and delete, which he was trolled into by Reethok. And then he argued in the Discord for hours and hours about how he really didn't care about the mini server start. That was probably the highlight of that Discord's life forever. Because it's obvious that you don't care about something when you write about it for hours and hours. And I'm pretty sure Reethok is flat out banned from playing again because he's just such a shit team player and trolled some of his teammates into quitting. Great guy. And I know I said that I wanted some of the winners to come on the show, but turns out after a mini server start, most people are just so tilted by the entire thing, they don't want to talk about it anymore. But First Blood has snuck onto and talked his way into coming on the show because he just wanted to talk about it so much. First Blood, are you here?
I am. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are very welcome. Do you like Frosty's poem that he wrote about you?
You know, I mean, it was entertaining. I'll go ahead and say, a lot of flame in there, but that's just typical Frosty. But it was entertaining. It gave me a good laugh when I kept logging into my guild deteriorating over the week.
Yep. Up on the screen now, we have the players' tier rankings from before the game. We have a different chart that I have hidden in the corner that I'll pull up after we go over these tier rankings now. But I see before the game, you thought that only Panda and DPS were going to be like the tier 1 hard carries. How did you come to that conclusion with Ben?
Yeah, so the way we kind of did it, we both came up with our own tier list and then talked to them, put them together and talked about it to see where we put people. The tier 1 kind of came from DPS, we gave him tier 1 because apparently he hard carried or try hard the last MSS he was in. Panda is just known to be a monster in Astra Empires in general, so we figured, he's probably going to be on that Haley tier of carrying, so we gave them that tier 1. So they were, of course, going to be the first ones to go.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that DPS would try hard and be good at this. He can be active and good and hit shit. Or as much as crazy as he talks, he can be good at the game too.
Yeah, he has some crazy activity, so that really helps.
Yep.
And then he's got that leadership experience, which apparently really helped the other side.
Yep. And I see in the tier 2 list, Alicus right on top. You thought Alicus was going to be the easiest, first round pick of your life. What happened there?
I think that was quite possibly the biggest meme of it all, and I got flamed for it for hours on hand afterwards, as I grew up in AE in the community as thinking that Alicus was just one of those guys who apparently, always went for the contest, doesn't matter the odds, and he would always fight. And I mean, he'd put up a good fight, it seemed like. So I figured, okay, this guy's pretty active. It seems like he's pretty aggro. That's the exact type of person I need on my squad. I've never played with him. I've never really seen him play. I played against him, I think, on Andromeda, I think was the first 2.0 server, and he I got stuck between his group and then Haley and Iblis, and it was just a nightmare. But I guess that kind of fogged up my decision, thinking, okay, this guy's a tryhard. He'll, do it big for me, and picked him first and overall.
Yeah, first to be picked, first to quit. I mean,
Yeah.
so it matched up.
Yeah.
Yeah, were there any other big surprises on your tier list before we move on to the after list? Because that's obviously going to be the better one. Was there anyone else on your pre-list that really surprised you that ended up not being worse or better than you thought they'd be?
Okay, so first off, I didn't realize that Ben just didn't sleep at all. I guess we could talk about it when we get to the next tier list, but Ben was definitely underrated, which did not help my case because he basically got the 3 carries on his team. But let me see who else is on here. Maros, we gave him a tier 2. I guess again we'll talk about it on the next one, but he might have gone down. And then the tier 3 list, that was more of the tier 3 unknown because there were a bunch of people who we didn't actually have played with before, like ever. So
Hmm.
we didn't know how they would go. So we just put them there. And I think one, two, three of them actually quit, like deleted
Standard,
their accounts and
of
all.
course, of course.
So yeah, those I mean didn't necessarily it didn't surprise me once I found out exactly what guilds they came from. It seems like the ones who come from the Zergy farm guilds don't like to have their bases hit. So yeah.
That is shocking. Shocking. But yeah,
Mhm.
let's see, because all those people like Zeno couldn't even come on the news live, so I don't think that was a good sign of him being going to be super active for
Yeah,
server start.
it was bad because he said that he could play and he'd be fine, and then I think it was like a day in or a day or two in, and then he was like, "Real life, really busy, don't have time." But then a lot of people actually who wanted to play told us they wouldn't be able to and dropped out. But
Yeah,
he, came in there, took up a spot, and then just left his team hanging. I don't even think he went above level 10.
of
So,
course, standard. All right, let's move on to the better list, the after game list, where there's a lot more people in tier 1. There's less people in tier 3 because a lot of those got moved into Rage Quit Dogs, and we have an exclusive tier 4 list. Can we just talk about Sheldon in tier 4 and how awful he was?
okay, so Sheldon Cooper, I don't know which group he came from. He seemed like he was decently active, so I was like, I mean, yeah, he seemed like he really was interested. And at the very beginning of the round, Cat actually put up basically a complete guide of what to build to get to base 1. It was or base 2, I guess. It was as simple as possible. We said, "Follow this guide, you'll be fine. Follow it step for step. Don't do anything else." And Sheldon Cooper, for some strange reason, we looked at his base later on in the day when he was such high eco, and we saw that he had Spaceport 7 on his first base. And we asked him, we said, "Dude, why aren't you following the build guide?" And he said, "Oh, this is how I normally build." And I think that was the start of the downhill train from there because I mean, nobody goes any higher than Spaceport 5 in MSS because there's no reason. And here we have one guy who went Spaceport 7 and he was eternally behind ever since. And then to make matters worse, he went for cruisers
I
as
can't.
if it was ever
I
going to
know.
help
I
us.
know. Oh man.
So he just managed to screw the whole thing up single-handedly and basically make himself useless. He never fed. I'll give him that. He never fed. He was also never useful, and he wasn't even pumping eco, right? So yeah, that's why he got his own little tier.
Yep. Let's also talk about Reethok, who was put into tier 3 because he's just didn't do good team things. Like I know there was like some fight one night, or like you were trying to get him to hit bases, and like he wouldn't do it, and then he just entered into a pile some night when no one else was online.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna flame Ree much because apparently Ree is just this is just him. Um, but basically, what day was it? Was it Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday where
Mm-hmm.
he had the most fleet in our group, and he we asked him. This is after me and Kat had made a hit, and I think Maros and Slippin had made a hit because we were falling behind, but our eco was ahead of theirs. So we're like, okay, we can come back. We just need to make some more hits. Now they thought of this more as us inting because we weren't necessarily making profit. But I mean, if you're hurting the enemy eco, that's the whole point, and you're kind of breaking their spirit to play because that's really the biggest point of this. You got to break your opponent. But we asked him, we said, "Hey Ree, you have all your fleet gathered on your base. You haven't done anything. Go make a hit. Like somebody will int for you if you need it, because I mean everybody's turtle, just go make a hit."
Mm-hmm.
he sat there AFK for hours after getting pinged by multiple people because I guess he was on Call of Duty. And then he came back and was just like, I can't take any of these bases by myself. And we're like, we know. That's why somebody's just going to int for you. He said, no, but I can't get any good ratios by myself. And at that point, I read that and I fucked off. I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go play games with the boys because this is not the thing. I came back hoping maybe they had convinced him to make a hit. Lo and behold, that was not the case. Nighttime came for everybody, and at this point, they have a 10k fleet advantage on us. And we're like, well, shoot. They start blobbing in two different regions. One was mine and Maros, and the other, I think, was near Slippin'. And I'm like, all right, guys. And actually had to Annie this in the Discord chat was, all right, guys. 2 people are going to get hit tonight. Please do not quit. We can come back tomorrow and start making some hits. But just know 2 people are most likely going to get hit tonight. And then it was brought up in the chat. I forgot who besides Ree, but somebody else asked, hey, they're blobbing. Should we make our own blob so maybe they won't do anything? I said, well, they have a 10k fleet advantage on us. We'll just die if we blob. So no blob, no fighting fleet on fleet because we're so behind. We need to work on killing their eco because that's all we have is eco. And I wake up to fill some queues at like 3 a.m. my time, I think it was, or 2 a.m. my time, to see that Reethok, or no, that Slippin' and Maros had gotten hit on like 3 bases each. And then I see Reethok is convincing someone, I forgot who it was, to go and try and crash this pile. And I just slide in there. I'm just saying, not a good idea. Especially since everybody's asleep. I go back to sleep because, again, I was not going to entertain that. Only to wake up and see that not only have they indeed crashed the pile, they had no recyclers. So they couldn't even clean up the pile. And then Reethok fucked off and went to sleep. And they came and killed him. And he just inted all those derbs and fleet into them and basically snowballed them. So at that point, I woke up, saw that, I was like, yeah, guys, do y'all really want to keep playing after this? Like, the bases was one thing. We could have probably kept going. But after seeing redo that, we kind of just all agreed, yeah, we're done, and just ended the round.
Yeah. Real quick, some other people that didn't do great. You said that Abe, you were told he was not very useful at all. Some guy Void was like below level 10 for 3 days, started late.
Yep.
Some guy Combat, like he went carriers. But
yeah,
but you accepted some blame because like he asked, like, should I build characters? And then like no one told him not to, so he built carriers.
Yeah, I had to go and look in the chat to find exactly where he asked it, but he did in fact ask it twice actually. But he did it at the very beginning when we're all frantically trying to find Astros and see where the enemy is, and so it got overlooked. And I looked back, and that was so. I'll definitely take partially blame on that. That happened, and I'm also not much of a leader, so I didn't necessarily provide guidance for we had new players about what fleet to build. I focused more on, hey guys, defenses do not get hit right now. So
do you think that ASAE style strategy was a good plan? Did it work out?
I mean, no. Because, everybody kind of turtled up at the same time. The real issue was that Ben, who we thought was actually Panda the whole time until the very end, was getting snowballed off of our bad people who missed out on a turret or crossed level 10 without any turret. There was a lot of inting that happened early on that just kind of... It was something else. That's what caused Alicus to rage quit, basically.
Yep, we are getting super behind schedule now.
Oh
But
yeah, I'm
so
sorry about
no,
that.
no worries, man. It's all good. Yeah, thanks for coming on, First Blood. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. The eternal loser.
Yeah, that's right. But let me talk about what's coming up next week, though. For some reason, they want to do another mini server start again soon. And they're talking about the date being May 2nd, which is this coming Saturday. They want to try to do another one. And First Blood also told me to stress that this isn't for casuals. This is for the diehard nerds who want to wake up in the night for God knows what reason. So if you do choose to play and sandbag your team by just like not being super active, because you're supposed to be super active for this, that's kind of the point. And if you just do nothing or feed hard, even worse, you're going to tilt everyone off a cliff if you do that. So that's just a warning. I was told to say that. But if you are interested at all in the unofficial Discord, there's an MSS channel if you're interested in learning more on the specifics and how to join, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. And you know what? I'm just going to jump into the first interview. We talked about this mini server start for way too long. We're going to get on to our first guests. They are Lunazy and Megadeth from Wolf. You have the father and son GM combo. So give me just a minute, I'll get them on, and we'll be right back.
Oh, good. That's good.
All right, guys, we are now live on the show. I clicked the wrong thing, so we had the wrong screen up. So everyone was saying everyone's muted. I didn't. I don't know. I messed it up because I'm all thrown off because First Blood talked for too long about Reethok. Thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate your time today. Let me actually scroll down. I'm trying to save time so much. My goodness. So Lunacy and Death, you're running Wolf together. How did you find yourselves on the 40s for this server?
We had actually originally started in 37 to 39. We were met with the 30s Zergs, War Top, and Japan, or Japan, War, and Mo.
Mm-hmm.
And they quickly pushed us out. So when the 40s opened up, that was a quick relocation.
Yeah. Yeah. And before we get to the next question, I made the list of questions to send you guys before I looked at your guild page. Like, you can tell that there's a lot of things that match between Megadeth's profile and your guild page, which has a bunch of like roleplay nonsense in there, and then Lunazy's profile, which is completely blank. So
I've been a little bit lazy on my profile page.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's why you just got a little slanted off to the side there. That the blank profile gets a blank profile amount of respect. So, did you guys come to the server like planning to start a guild, or was that just what ended up happening?
Actually, we were made pre-server. DW Deathwalker, original GM of Wolf, had actually given me his blessing to take Wolf into Ant, and to watch me and to see how much he had taught me over on Nexus.
Mm-hmm.
So we were a pre-server guild.
Okay. Oh yeah, are you related to? Yeah, so you're related. Are you related to Wolf from Utopia?
As far as I know, yes. I personally did not play Utopia, so I don't have all the information on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, because I know there's the wolf that played on Utopia, and then I know there's the wolf guilds that Deathwalker made a bunch back in the day.
Yeah.
If I looked at your like your guild list of all your players, I see you have guys mostly in A45. Who else is in the upper like 40s, and what are your relationships with those other guys?
There's the other guilds are power or overwhelming, 48, 49, 46, 47. Tribe, which most of the guilds were packed with. We've had a little bit of conflict with uh 48, 49, but everything's fun and war games.
All right, fair enough.
We also,
go ahead.
this is Megadeth right here. Okay, we also have an uneasy relationships in the 40s. The virus spread lies and spies, deceit, and promises of rivers of gold and peace and all that. And no one's really trusting each other. It's like switchblades in the night sort of thing. It's not so much wild 40s. It's more like South Central schoolyard in the 80s. You're likely to get shot or stabbed up here. It's like everyone's at each other's back, or just nobody knows what's going on.
Now that's what I like to hear. Some chaos going in the 40s. That is what I like to hear, Megadeth. I almost forgot to ask before. How long have you guys been playing Astro? You told me last night that Lunazy is your son. You guys have been playing Astro for a long time. You've trained him. How long has that been going on for?
Okay, well, I started like in 2006 with the Delta Highlanders. Our leader died, and we were being attacked a lot by the 13th Legion, because they were the Dominator Guild in that area. And, well, he died in real life, so 13 was nice enough to say, okay, you guys get 6 months of, do not hit kind of status. But after 2 weeks, we were getting bored, so we actually joined the 13th Legion, which would become Wolf, which is where Deathwalker was the GM.
Okay.
Then I've been, I've been a GM of like 9 different guilds, big guilds sometimes, second rank at least. I've never been in charge of a first rank, but second rank I've done twice, such like that. Lunacy, he, when I was the GM of Smoke and Juno and in Hydra, he was my VGM for about 8 months. And then
Omega.
And Omega, yes. Oh, and Omega. And now I'm like a grunt and wolf where my son Lunacy is the vice GM of. And of course, now we're here with my son on Antares.
Yeah. I mean, you're being accused of just using a voice modulator, but you're the same person. You're just multis. Yeah. Back to your playlist.
We can assure you we're not multis.
No,
we're 14,000 light years away.
At one time.
Yeah. I wanted to get back to your player list real quick. I recognize one guy in there, Manike. He played with me on a few servers before. I'm sure in chat, Warbeaver is in there, and he can remember him from Gaia, because BV, he tilted him off so bad that Manike suicided into him for some reason. I forget why, but that's what he did. And also, I was looking at your playlist. You like randomly have 2 guys in 19 and 3 in Galaxy 38. What's the deal with that? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, because we became where we started in 39. So obviously, or 37 to 39. And obviously, some of them didn't want to come with us, but they didn't want to leave the guild. And we left some dedicated players to stay behind for a bunch of different reasons. Mm-hmm. And we also basically, the 219 guys, they were part of another guild who got too big, and we just took their overway. And that's they got chased out of there too, because basically we got the lowdown, give us your best or farm the rest, and so we bailed.
If it rhymes, that's a pretty good deadline to give them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So once we got that, we came up here to the 40s, and we're, a week behind, but that's just the way it is.
It's
That's
just
how it happens.
it's worth being a week behind to not being involved in the packed up and down clusters of the 0s through the 30s. I think that's worth a trade for that one.
We were a little lucky in Wolf that we were not so nice with one of the guilds that never pacted with us, never talked to us or anything like that, tribe, basically. And we just kind of ate off of them, fed off of them for a little while because they just wouldn't listen. It's like, come on.
And they
defense is
sure
huge.
were juicy.
Yeah, they were. But, we were beneficial of that. And then what we did when we relocated, we started to starve, virus. And I call them the VC, Virus Coalition, because, that's Japan and war and all those guys. And basically, I'm thinking that, if they want to come up to the 40s, then they're going to leave their back behind. Right now it's cluster versus cluster. It's a giant cluster fuck. Everybody wants to say it. But it's just like all these different clusters. And if there's a weakness in one cluster at all, then it's an opportunity. Take them out. Just punch them in the face. Right. So that's kind of a defense that we have, is that if they move towards us, someone's going to move towards them. I don't think they're thinking about that at the moment, as much
No,
as
I don't either.
I know, because we're getting all kinds of different, reports about all kinds of different things going on. And we're not really involved with the 30s, or actually the 30s are still the ones that are really threatening us. The 20s and the 10s and the 0s, we haven't had any contact with them. So it's, it's an iffy thing. And I assume that everybody thinks that a bunch of mid-sized battle-hardened feudal guilds up here in the 40s are just going to be an easy, it's all about soft targets versus hard targets. And I would figure that, the cluster guilds down at the bottom, they're all secure in their little world, and they're not going to have the big defenses that we do. They're not going to have the violent tendencies that we do, as far as we got to kill to survive. They're just like, oh, it's just a vacation. Let's go up there. And it's not like that, guys. Come on. I don't want you to come on, but, it's like, think about it.
We're not just going to roll over.
Yeah.
We're not. Wolf has been around. I've been around. I've had, it's like an endurance game. If you don't quit, then you win. That's all there is to it. The only way to lose this game is to quit. And
I've lost a lot, Ben. I've lost a lot.
Exactly. And I don't, because I stick with it for like 2 or 3 years with a guild. And we've gone from having a 42 level ranked guild be number 2 in 2 years because of this. Everybody's losing their fleets at the big ends. They're dropping like flies, as far as, just a minute ago, you were talking about how the strongest players, they quit first. And that's because they're so attached to that fleet. Oh my God. They whine harder than any newbie does when their fleet gets hit. It's like, oh, don't hit my recyclers, because then I'll leave you as fast as you can. They're just so protective, and they're the ones that quit. It's us guys in the middle that just punch through the whole game all the way to the very end, that are actually come out in the end. It's right now in the short game or the mid game. Yeah, we're in a lot of danger, but in the long game, I don't feel that we'll be just fine.
No, you're right, because a lot of people, most people, like once like shit has gone wrong with their guild, they get crashed, and the other guild just sits on top of them, and just then like they crash, and then they just farm their bases into the ground. That's also part of why a lot of people, like once like shit goes wrong, they just say, well, it's worth quitting because we're just going to get farmed until we quit, because that's just kind of what the meta is now.
Yeah, that's what they think is going to happen. But now that we have this the 10 days thing, where the unrest, it's like, okay, well, you're going to stay here for 10 days. All of your main bases are way far away. So all of our bases are up here. What are you going to be able to defend your farms, so to speak, your farming equipment?
There's a guy, real quick, there's a guy in chat, Koch93. I think he said he was Sheldon Cooper. He's asking a lot of questions about, I don't know if you've seen in chat, he says, ask them both what happened in the first few days of the server. He claims that your boy Lunazy is inactive. What's the deal with that? How are you going to trash Sheldon for making these claims?
Okay, Sheldon had jumped ship and went to virus early on.
Mhm.
Yeah. And well, I'm not going to rip on anybody particularly. It's just, it seems that that happens a lot where at the very beginning of the server, we were doing good. It took 7 virus to take 2 of my bases. So yeah, we were doing all right. And so we decided to leave. And there's the person that organizes a bunch of the ops and stuff. There's 2 different jobs. GM is one type of job. BGM is a different type of job. And because I've been a GM so much, I know how to run a guild. So Lunacy is the GM. He focuses on the diplomacy. He focuses on he's in on that
I play Discord more than I do AE.
yeah, Discord. That's what I was trying to think of. He does that Discord all the time. He's always talking with people. So you're not going to see inside of the guild how active he really is, right? Whereas me, I'm a know-it-all. You can tell. And I'm just sitting here and I'm telling everybody, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. We point our finger. Everybody goes for it. We have experienced players who know how to play the game. Honor Harrington. I always thought that, that person was a just an independent somehow, and them being in our guild right now is like insane. That person is kicking ass. And we got Bad Boy, Red Eye. These guys are chopping it up. So, and they know the game. They've been around since Forever Win too. And some of the other guilds in our area have people that we've worked with before also. And I'm just hoping that we can all come to some sort of consensus soon, of course, to be able to do what we got to do to defend our 40s from all these cluster guilds.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Someone just also put in chat. Ask about your relationship with Dark Angel. This person has asked that twice. I've seen a lot of his super huge role play PMs that are crazy. I want to. Are you responsible for Dark Angel?
Oh man, ask Lunacy. Do you like Dark Angel, Lunacy?
Let's just say this is a Nexus topic.
Yep. First of all, this is a Nexus topic. Yep. Gotcha. So I guess you have a little bit of history.
Beginning of Nexus was really rocky because of DA or Dark Angel. I had completely farmed him in N19 alone.
Mm-hmm.
And he continued with the trash talking, imposters, multis.
Everything.
He's actually the reason why I started growing through the ranks of Wolf.
Yeah, we started in his guild, I think, or we were in a little guild and we decided to jump over to his guild. And then he was all like, okay, you can't do this. You have to do this. You got to do this. You can do all this. And then you ain't going to get paid for it. And we just whatever. It was just like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. And we took most of our guys and we went to Wolf. And he was all pissed off about that, obviously. And his IQ is like 4,000 million, So his ego got really hurt on that. His whole guild just vaporized as soon as we left. It was nasty. And, I feel bad for the guy in a way because, he's a player. And I like all the players of Astro Empires. We all have something in common. We all like space games. We all like war games. We all like this. So it's kind of hard to really dislike someone so much as we could have disliked DA. He was just that much of a disruption in the whole game during the beginning of Nexus. But afterward, this server, it's like he's way down there. I don't care. Blocked him right off the bat, and he's going to get his one of these days.
Yeah, that was probably the smart play. I think I'm going to try to start wrapping this one up. I think we've gone for about 20 minutes. Was there any big proclamation you wanted to say about the 40s? Wolf is going to take over. You guys are going to rule the cluster with an iron fist. What's going to happen there?
No, we're not. We're not about that. We're about independence. If you guys chill out with us, we'll feed off of people that are stupid or aren't playing the game. But we're not going to go over and beat you up just because, right? what we're going to do is we want to exist as an independent entity and not have to worry, we can prosper. And everyone that's our pact partners, they can prosper too. A pact from us is like, it's the wolf pact, it's solid as hell. And everybody's like threatening to say that, oh yeah, we're not going to do it. We're going to be this, we're going to do that. And we got all those backstabbers out there buying the propaganda of people that want us dead, So, and one thing I want to mention outside of the whole realm is there's 6 rules. Have fun, be respectful, lead by example, lead the people in your guild to where they want to go, defense, 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 and build more fleet. That's the success of this game.
Yeah, those are all pretty good rules. Now, Chad has been saying this over and over and over, so much that I'm not going to ignore it. You can say pass if you need to, but Chad is saying, why do you promote a guild culture of having a bunch of furries? They might be confusing you with Utopia Wolf, which had a lot of furry culture in it.
No, we're not related.
Yeah, you're confusing us with Power at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, Power.
That's
right now,
the furry factory, this server.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
So you can get that off your back. It's Power.
And there's
that inherited that.
one last thing I would like to say. Since I've gotten hundreds of messages about this. Yes, we are the real wolf. DW or Deathwalker had given me his blessing before the server started to take wolf into Ant.
Yep, and Deathwalker just posted in chat with the hey guys.
Hey, yo.
Hey DW, there's your shout out.
Yeah. I want to shout out to all the members, but not their names, of Wolf, and the people that are on our side about this. Right now, if the 30s come at us, that'll be 300 to 22, and I guess we have moral high ground in this situation.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You guys told a great story of the 40s. I thought it was great. And sometime down the road, after you've beaten down some other guilds in the 40s, we'll get you back on again, okay?
Far out.
Heck yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. You have a good one.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, so that was our first taste of the 40s. Now, Mojo's interview is recorded. We recorded it last night at 1 a.m. And it's only 7 minutes long. But since we're falling behind and I ended up kind of skipping some stuff in the intro, I'm going to go back to the intro because we skipped ratings. We skipped talking about the 09 crash. So we're going to hop back there and talk about what happened in 09 for a bit. And we're going to just gloss over the ratings for 2-3 minutes like we did before. So, yeah, Scott, you're right. This show is completely off the rails. That was my fault for thought I could sneak in First Blood for a few minutes. And then he talked about Reethok for 15 minutes. I didn't expect it. No one expected it, but that's where we are. So we are going to go to the Antares rankings. Let me click them. Yeah, well, we're just going to play Mojo at the end because his 7-minute interview at the end. We're going to jump around. We'll be good. All right, so here we go. Here's the rankings. Since we missed out on that crash happening this morning in 09, a lot has not changed. Last week, OPA was the top guild for overall level, and Japan had the top averages. This week, OPA is still the top fleet overall, and UCorp has crept into the number 1 averages. The current top 5 overall are OPA, Japan, USSR, SF, and VVV. Yeah, but like I said, there was that crash in 09 that ended up not happening this morning. It's okay. What are you going to do? But next, we're going to take a look at the fleet counts. Again, there was no crash, so basically nothing has changed. The top 5 for fleet totals are OPA, USSR, Japan, SF, and VVV. UCorp still has the number 1 fleet average, and they're over 400k per player now. They only have 27 guys instead of the 50-member limit, but it still counts. And finally, we're going to take a quick look at the XP side of things. Come on, picture. Change over picture. There we go. And the XP rankings, Space Force has taken over the number 1 XP spot from War Legends. catching up on the 30s because the 30s have been packed up now, so not so much happening. DEF has jumped to the number 4 spot because they weren't invited to the packed party. Legion has jumped up there as well. They're up to number 6 overall for the XP. Yep, and real quick, I do want to once again, I am asking for your best not shown in rankings account stats on the server. If you think you have the highest prod cap, the first base 14 or 13 or whatever, the most ox, please try to let me know. I want to brag on your behalf if you let me know about your dope account. We have some individual player rankings here. The number 1 XP is Buckfast. And importantly, we want to look, I'm added on technology there, but I only had room for the top 2 ranks. I want to really apologize to BV Reginald, who was number 3, but he couldn't make it on there. Unfortunately, we ran out of space. Sorry, Reginald. Oh, Frosty. I feel so bad. I mean, you still get to be here as a sack of potatoes, so you're fine. And that's gonna... Poor Reginald. That's gonna end the rankings. It's just a quick little 2-minute review of nothing happening on the server and the ranks not changing from week to week. I did want to real quick also talk about the crash in 09, or the crash that didn't happen in 09. HC, Highly Contagious, Belware's Guild, did launch to 09 over the weekend. They were going after the lowers, the zeros. They ended up recalling at some point last night. HC and Ready. That's right, we'll get to it. And Belware did prepare a statement about it. Let me click it up here. That's what I clicked before when I didn't mean to. Because I tried to get Belware on. He was hoping to come on if he... He's like, if we landed, I'm definitely coming on. He's like, but I'm not. I'll just make a little statement about, because he was the first guild to make a launch out of cluster. That's very respectable. I like it. And I'll kind of cliff notes what he all wrote here. He made a very dramatic reading. After the upper and lower teens talked to peace about a week ago. Oh, Koch, I don't know who has the first dread built. No one has told me. You crazy. Who's the first to build a dread? Yeah, no one, yeah. Anyway, after the teens pack did, Belware did a shotgun launch. He made everyone go down to 5-hour detection with their launch down to 09. They were going after the Cancer Club. They were hoping that since Space Force and BV's pact was kind of new, that Space Force would kind of not be in position and not ready to jump up to 09 to back them up. But Space Force was kind of ready. They did get up there in time. Belware says that HC had 8.5 million fleet in the air, and he says they had 7 million fleet in their first 2 minutes. And he said that Ready also sent fleet, but he did not tell me the official numbers of Ready, unfortunately. But Belware also says that he had a hunch that OPA was getting involved, because he told me that Trace had been keeping an eye on some OPA blobs and fleets in the 20s, and he saw that some was missing, and he just decided not interested, didn't want it. So he recorded, he recorded his, he recalled about 10 hours before his landing, which was set for, I think, 14 server time today. And 120k ready fleet. Oh my goodness, I'm just burping it up. 120k ready fleet. Just didn't recall and got derbed anyway. And so they got derbed. So BV won that one. The first added cluster invasion ended up being a little bit of free derbs for BV. Belware was disappointed he wasn't able to come on the news and say that he actually got to land. But what are you going to do? He does promise that just because he had to recall once doesn't mean he's done trying. He's going to keep doing what he can. And you know what? That's the end of 09. Just a little quick summary. HC and Ready launched to 09. SF and BV, they countered it. They got enough fleet there. But up next, we have our boy Wodan. We're going to get him on. So we're going to take another little quick break. And when we come back in a minute, we're going to have our boy Wodan. So stick tight. We'll be right back. All right, boys, we're back with Wodan here. Why don't you say hello to everyone, Wodan?
Hey everyone, thanks for the invite, George. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, thank you so much, so much. If we have Wodan here, he's a big fan of polls. Have you looked over the results in your poll for the show?
I would say that on Nexus at least, straw polls are arguably responsible for the whole cohesion of the guild, so we use them quite a lot. I've looked at this Zerga dog poll, and I'm actually thinking I'm quite surprised that Cloak and Pals have been voted number one there. But arguably, I think if you add Trace and Okri together, you got the real winner.
Yeah, maybe, but only time will tell as people answer over and over, hopefully, to get their... If they have a stronger opinion, they should vote more than once, I think.
I'm saying is that poll lines are still open. You know, you can go ahead and vote as many times as you like here.
I realized it's been so long since I posted it, so let me post that again. Get some more answers flowing in there. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for preparing a poll for the show. Instead of battle reports, like you said, polls are more important than making hits. So we have some of your classic polls in there.
You only get battle reports, George, if you make attacks. So
that is a true statement. Yes. So I can see how you might not end up with battle reports there. And I guess second question I want to say, this is the Antares News Network, but are you still playing Antares?
I am not. Not at this point, actually. No, I have bailed out. I might be posing myself up for a little return, but at this point, I don't have any active accounts.
Yeah, I know you. Pretty sure you started with Scott over in 19 there. But let's talk real quick about your Astro history. We didn't come here to talk about how you don't play Antares anymore, but you were gone for the game for a while, and then you came back on Mystic and have been beloved by basically everyone who's come across you for the last year and a half or so. So
two kinds.
Yeah, a lot of the Cancer Crew, the Boomers, the Mystic 20s and 10s. Yeah, we all love you. But when you played way back in the day, who did you used to play with? When was that? Tell me about that.
I played a long time ago. So we're talking SETI. SETI was my first server. And my two brothers, who don't play anymore, they both managed to successfully quit the addiction. They said, I'm playing this game. It's a browser game. It's called Astro Empires. You're probably going to love/hate it. And they were right. And they were both in a guild called the Warrigal. And that was the anti-SU. Now, at this point, basically, SETI was just a horrendous sim kind of face-off between Heiho and the collected kind of the anti-SU, as they called themselves. Massive guilds. Like, you're talking that people had like 90 million fleets and had been simming for years. But essentially, Heiho had snowballed to the point where nobody could topple them, nobody could stop them. People had fed them so much. Stupid guilds that basically blobbed up and got smashed, and the server was basically, it was a done deal. They were going to lose, and people had basically it was attrition. People were quitting, and I joined late. I was a late starter. I think I joined maybe a year after the server had been going, maybe 2 years. I'm not sure. With a 0 rank account, and I was just going around. Nothing was happening. I was just making attacks, trying to learn the game. There was a lot of really kind of expert players there. They knew the math. They knew what to do. I guess I put out a shout out just in case people know these guys. So there was like Surf Percy. There was a guy called Mac 9001. The GM was a guy called MGR, but he rarely logged in. And my brother's accounts were Sprunky and Kithix. So just in case anybody's heard of these guys, but I would make attacks, and they would just critique everything I did and said, that's a shit hit. You need to drop fighters first. You need to drop exactly this number of fighters, and I guess that's how I learned the game. It's these math heads just giving me shit for months.
Yep, I'd like to shout out all of our English guests that have come on the show that have gone on in super detail about their history from Astro Empires. So
there's a lot of chat. Yeah.
What servers, like, what was your heyday of back in the day, and then when did you stop playing?
Basically these guys gifted me an account, and I was like, well, this is okay, but I really like making attacks, and they gave me like a top 50 account, and I ended up just simming it. Its queues were full for months, and I was like, this isn't the game I want to play. I don't want to play this game. So I actually convinced a bunch of them to join me on Gamma, and Gamma was my second server, and it was a late start. We started in the 40s, and there were about 6 or 7. They were really enjoying the early game, and we started in the same galaxy as Alakis, actually, and a couple of other guys. A guy called Wildback, if anybody remembers him.
Nope.
And we quickly realized that we're all super aggressive, super active, which is what you want, obviously. And let's not fight each other. Let's join up. So we did. We got the first 40s guild called SWAT, I think it was called.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was really fun. Lots of real active, aggressive stuff. We fought 41. We shit talked. It was basically SETI and Gamma were like a golden age for shit posting and talking shit on the forums.
Gamma was a great server. Great server.
You have to remember there was no Discord. Nobody had any stuff like that. So people were on ICQ. People were on like
the MSN chat thing. I forget what it was called. That's what people used back then.
That's it. So they were like a little bit like Twitch chat. Actually, people would just post all the crap and call each other out. But you're talking MS Paint. You're talking lengthy war declarations and stuff. And Alicus just had this real talent for pissing off really powerful people. It was hilarious.
He had Alicus is better than everyone at picking a fight with the largest guild and pissing them off. Yep. And then like he'll like go in and like derb like a mini blob of theirs, and then like they'll counterattack and just sit on top of him forever, and then he'll say that he got zerked. And that's
so he did that. He did that with a guild called Farm, and we bear in mind we're just a crappy little. We got a blob of 5 million or something, and they invaded us with 20 million, and I don't know how we did it. I don't know what happened. We actually won. We won the kind of defensive crash against these guys, and they were humiliated. A tiny guild annihilated. And obviously, Alicus went into overdrive. He's just like trash talking everybody. The mistake we made is we basically picked a fight with WL War Legends and Real Cloak. He's the GM. All the posts are still there. I went back and read them for posterity, and it was like I said, it's a golden age for shit posting.
Yep, real quick, I got to respond to Meow in chat. Yes, all of us use Skype for AE garbage, and every single person has their Skype account hacked, and you get links from everyone to some virus nonsense. Yeah, does that happen whenever you log into Skype for like the first time in 3 years? Everyone that you played Astra with has just sent you a random link. That's all that Skype is now. Garbage.
yeah, that's 100%.
Yep. So I think that answers a lot of your questions about the past. Yeah, Gamma was a super fun server. I played there, but I didn't do anything noteworthy there.
It kind of ended badly. I mean, you got to bear in mind this is pre kind of unrest rules. This is like, we pissed off the biggest guild on the server. They turned up with like 90 million fleet, occupied all our bases, just rinsed us out, and I just quit after about 3 weeks of being perma-farmed or something. So there's no way out. This is the end.
Yeah, perma-farm, it sucks. But you came back to Astro on Mystic with you acquired a group of dudes out of nowhere. What inspired you to come back for Mystic out of nowhere?
I don't know. I think I don't know if I speak for myself here, but I think Astro Emperors is like a therapy for me. I get in the real world. I suffer from mild anxiety, and I think Astro Emperors is like a little tonic to kind of keep that at bay. And so I just went, you know what, I remember this game. I remember I turned up after playing some shitty Facebook game that somebody invited me to. It was a little bit strategic, you create armies and make attacks. And I just went, this is just a shit version of Astro Emperors. And I went, oh yeah, Astro Emperors, that's a game. I wonder if that still exists. Looked it up, and yeah, there you go. All good. I actually randomed in. I joined the stream on my own.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, just basically randomly. And did you just random recruit then?
Random, didn't know anything about it, and then I joined the closest. What I saw was the guild with the most bases around me. It was a guild called Ace, and the leader was a guy called
Sewi Juga, the legend.
And I quickly realized that this was a big mistake, and I backed out with no. I saw what they did. It's a nice little social guild. Respect to Ace. They do what they do. They stay in their lane. You know what I mean? They do what they do. They teach people how to kind of. I wouldn't say they teach people how to be farmed. They teach people how to not be farmed, but not do much else. It's a social guild. So I backed out. I wanted aggression. I wanted my Gamma days. I wanted to kind of relive my youth. And so I joined the second most base guild, which is a guild called Hyde. Mm-hmm. This guild, I didn't know anything about them. I don't know anything about the server. I don't know anything about the politics. We're late starters. We're 6 months into a guild that's into a server that's mature. There's a bunch of people in M16, and they are just randoms. Nobody knows anybody. There's a core of people. There's a guy called Rift21, who's a good player, by the way. He's a core player for the guild. We had at the time I didn't know who it was, but it was actually a guy called Akumos. I don't know if you've ever played with him.
Oh yeah, we know Akumos. Yeah,
good player. Great at building an account. And there was drama essentially because Akumos previously played with AG, now known as Bust, and the Boomer Boys, as they're also known. Quit and then rejoined, but he didn't tell them. critical mistake. He started in their stronghold and he didn't tell them he was coming back, and he was incog. So I don't know if he was memeing or trolling them, but they took exception to this, and the whole guild got trashed essentially.
All right.
So we fought those guys. We fought those guys for months. We're talking like 9 months of aggressive, horrible guerrilla war. You're talking HTs onto blobs to shield rip recyclers. You're talking hitting base, perma farms, the law. Just horrible war. And diplomacy was kind of off the table for a long time because of how pissed off they were with us. And we just fighting for our right to exist, right? We just like, who are these guys? You know, we don't care. We don't care about strongholds. We're just here to fight. So we did, and that was it. Now, it was a bizarre kind of how I became GM. It seems to be a pattern, and I think Scott's going to laugh about this because it happened to me again on Nexus. I seem to just shitpost on, I don't know, the general boards, telling people what to do. Don't do this, don't do that. Make an announcement, go to this place, blow up this mini blob, that sort of stuff. And then one day I'll just wake up and I'll have the GM tag. I'm like, oh no, not again. It's happened again. So from Mystic, that happened, and they were like, "Good luck, you're in charge. Just do something." And at the time, I was like, "Shit, we're outnumbered. Like, we don't even have a blob. This is just like guerrilla fleets, people shotgunning in the night to protect your fleet, that sort of stuff." So I was speaking to the Zeros. I was speaking to what at the time it was DT and Too Easy, who are now known as T. I was speaking to DRT, who've now been split up, and that guild has now been split into 3 parts. It was meat. It turned into meat. It turned into.
I forget who else they split into. Wodan, we lost you. Wodan. Oh boy. Hey Wodan, we have lost you. You've gone silent. I don't know if you're still talking or not, but maybe leave the call and then rejoin the call. Maybe that'll get you straightened out. Yeah, everyone, get your F's out. Wodan, he had a great story, but did he get too excited? Is he dead? Is this an actual press F moment? Oh, goodness. Okay, Scott says, tell everyone how I saved Wodan on Utopia in the meantime. I don't know how Scott did it, but he says he saved Wodan. He probably, by saving Wodan, he just meant pacting him because, like, he just wanted to get more people in his cluster allied. So that makes sense. So he probably just pacted Wodan to save him.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry, I lost connection. I'm not sure what happened there. Sorry, mate.
Me neither. But you were okay. On to take back your Fs.
So essentially, I'd rallied pretty much the whole server to fight AG and the Boomers. I just had enough of these guys, and we were like facilitating shotguns. We were building like jump gate networks in their back door. We were just being horrible as fuck, right? And it was one op. There was one op where I got some good players actually. Respect to T, respect to Too Easy. They had some great players, and I had Detox from DRT. I had Death Knight, who's known as being the biggest frigate fleet on the server, and a guy called Duncan, and we basically shotgunned those guys into the back door of the AG clan and just started wrecking shit. And it was the
Did you just call them a clan?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
They're actually a tight group. There's a tight core of real good players here, right? And we facilitated this shotgun. We got like something like 12 million fleet into M16 because we knew exactly where to get people in. And I got a PM from Chansey saying, "Hey, if you just lock these guys out, I'll give you a pact. I'll give you a pact if you basically drop jump gates on these guys."
I like where this is going. A straight up betrayal, stealing a jump gate.
It was the first PM I'd ever got from these guys that was even remotely diplomatic, right? So I quietly just said, "Look, I've got no reason to flip on these guys. I'm on my 3rd server here, and I've never broken a pact yet. I've never broken an agreement. I've got no reason whatsoever to screw these guys over." And we got them out, and they were pissed off. So essentially, we went for our second option, which was a full-scale kind of invasion. We tried to get the Zeros to really try and wreck these guys. No, if I've got any criticism of New Cloak and Zahaga, it's they play it safe. They don't take risks. Not really.
No. Oh, you're kind of breaking up again a little bit, I think.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay,
How's
all
that?
right, you sound good
Yeah.
there. Just a smidge it seemed to break
So these
up.
guys don't take risks, not really. And I
No.
really wanted them to invade. I wanted some action. I wanted to get these guys punished. And what it came down to was my tiny guild with a 2 million blob trying to kind of kingmake two guilds with 100 million blobs against each other. And what happened was it was Wheels at the time who was in charge, I think, and he knows all about this. I'm pretty. We since spoke about it. We're totally fine with each other. It's not a big deal. But basically, he got my entire guild recall trapped. That's what it came down to.
Whoops.
They were in M10. AG were pulling the whole let's be invocation mode, which is hilarious. Some real funny posts on the forums about.
VM is a legitimate strategy. It works.
It is, and like alligators in the water, as soon as the Zero started to pull out, AG started to wake up and come after them, which was that was the thing. But the problem was my entire guild were on the way to M10 shotguns, and we just dropped like pennies from heaven and got eaten alive, and I couldn't believe it. Well, I could because it was the smart.
Mm-hmm.
There was 100 million blob on the line, and they were just doing what they did. They were taking the kind of the safe route. They were getting out. They've been boring, right? Like Frosty says, they were being boring. If it was me and the roles were reversed, I would have stayed. I was like, I don't care if there's 2 million flee. I'm going to protect these guys, right? And I just flipped. I went, this is it. These guys don't care. They're not going to make any plays. I'm wasting my time here. So I went back to Chansey and we started speaking. And lo and behold, I've got a good, the clan grew, the guild grew. It's now number 4 in the server, and we're an asset. We got a lot of fleet to give to that team to try and win that war.
Yep. So Wodan confirmed flipper on Mystic.
Yep. But they pushed me into it. I think I was at the point where I just saw that the Boomers were the kind of the better team. They had the strategy, they had the activity, and Mystic continues to deliver. It's probably the most interesting server out of the last 4. I think it's still going. There's still ops happening all the time.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong. Mystic has surprisingly kept going on and on because the 10s and 20s they were ahead for a while, and then Chansey entered us through the wormhole, and then that balanced everything back out, and it's been relatively even since then.
Obviously, Chansey for taking the risk. I think we didn't pay off at the time. They leveraged caps and stuff, but ironically, our guild's job. I think if we'd actually turned up to the wormhole, we might have won that one. But we'd actually been asked to shotgun to 01. So we actually, while this wormhole crash was going off, we were smashing bases in 00 and 01 and getting 2 million pillage.
Yeah, that wormhole launch from was all based around Chansey and Black were convinced that the Zeros were going to be really inactive on Mystic, but they weren't going to be because they had just on Utopia pushed out China in the 30s there. So so they were they're riding their high horse. They're gonna be super active. They're all playing together on Mystic. They're all playing together on Utopia. So they were riding their high horse, and so guess what? They were active for that crash. And they moved way more than we expected for the
thing is,
whole thing.
They are generally inactive, but they've got a real tight core. They all play they've got the same team, same server every single time. And if they want to rally, if they want to put the shout out, they've got a bunch of people. They've got 50 people who will literally just log in just for that thing. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, because they were on their high activity part, and they were just they were ready for that, and they know that we love to do our 3 a.m. launch stuff, and they're like we know it's happening. They've done it 2 days in a row. They're going to do it a 3rd day in a row, and they're ready.
So I mean, Mystic on, and it's still going. We despite the kind of we keep trying to end it. It's a zombie server. It's going to keep bouncing back. It's 2.0.
Yeah.
But Utopia, that's the next kind of more interesting server.
Yes, it is.
I took a group of players, probably my core from Mystic. I took those guys, and we started in 18 and 19. We were with the intention of strongholding up. It was real. The people that were around, we basically fought them a little bit and then merged. So we had a real nice stronghold, and then we got in contact with Sweet, who was ADHD and 3 DPS, and we got in contact with Wolf in 15 and. That was a real shithole of a server. I loved it. I've got to be honest. I actually, the first 90 days of that server are probably my most fun server of all. The guild name was NWA, as Scott has reminded me, obviously. And so the failed joint launch from Sweet to Sweet and NWA joint launch to kill Wolf. That was a tragedy.
Oh yeah, yep, I remember that.
I remember being an hour from landing, going, and this is no disrespect to ADHD. I've played with him a lot, and DPS. I've teamed up with him on Nexus a lot of times, but this was a fuck up, a real clusterfuck of an organizational thing.
And by the way, you
An hour
don't
before
have to
landing.
respect ADHD, David. You don't have to, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I respect anybody I play with. I think that's, and I respect anybody I fight as well. I think if you give me a good fight, I have respect for you. But basically, an hour before landing, I'm in Discord saying, "Hey guys, I think we should be calling targets and looking at this blob. Is defensive blob's actually starting to get quite big? Don't you think we should think about a recall?" And DPS goes, "I'm gonna have a shower." And
Oh boy.
I was like, mate, come back. And it literally came back 10 minutes before landing. I went, now we're going to do it. We're going to land. And then the fake recall message came out, and people from somebody called .adh David, and people started recalling him. So
Yeah, good times, good fun. Oh yeah, speaking of Utopia, yeah, because you're still playing in the tens on Utopia with Scott.
yeah, that's
there.
right. Yeah.
Recently, Scott launched through the wormhole right before it closed, not after it moved or anything like that to the lowers.
So
Did you were you the brains behind that op of launching?
I would love to claim success for this, but I'm the guy who said, "Scott, are you sure?" And he said, "Yes, I'm sure." And I went, "Okay, then we're in it all the way." And that was it. I would commit to the plan. Once you commit, that's it. You don't go back. You don't go back. And do you know what? It could have been a fucking brilliant play because they were not ready for it. Baylor had no idea it was coming. We didn't know it was coming. It was like a 12-hour notice.
Yeah, by the way, Scott says you're lying. Scott says you are lying.
This is it. I've got. I'll release the Discords next week if you want, Scott. If you want me to release the captures, I'll do it. But I think fair play to Scott. He's actually keeping the server interesting. I think this is. We all thought we were going to be simming trophy accounts in 6 months. You know what I mean? And my fleet had literally just finished building from fucking up BFG. So I was like, up for a massive crash. This is a good idea. Let's fight Baylor. It's great. The only thing that went wrong is that people went inactive on an active op, and that's just stupid, I think. And the people that kind of did get trashed, it's kind of on them. You know, we had a good op. We had the potential to get out, kill 80 million of fleet, and get out with no casualties, and they just went inactive. And what can you do?
Yeah, because Scott had asked me, like after the op, he's like, what could I have done to be more prepared for that? I'm like, well, did you time like the actual times, like if they responded quickly and they moved, like how fast could frigates get there or anything? And he was like, nope,
man. We did everything. No,
he said no.
No, we've got a contact sheet. We were sending out text messages to Euros. We were calling people on Discord. These people just were not contactable. We wasn't meant to be. What can you do?
Yeah.
I mean, no excuses. It was a ballsy op, and we were taking a big risk here. But yeah, I mean, I think relatively. If you look at the fleet count, it probably didn't pay off. But if you look at the keeping the server interesting, it probably did, because now we've got a full scale war on our hands, and I think that's probably worth more than a few million fleet.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take the L now to get the W down the road.
I think AA is definitely a game where you have to disrupt people or be disrupted yourself. And if you just sim and wait, eventually somebody's going to fuck you up. So we didn't do that. We took the initiative, and I think no regrets. All good.
Yep. So I guess you've spilled some dirt on Utopia. You spilled some dirt on Mystic.
Oh, just before we move on with the Utopia, one point. I think this whole wolf meme. I've heard the 40s guys in on Terry's. And I've got some experience of fucking up wolves. That's all I got to say. Because Utopia, I don't know, it's a real strange setup, a real strange guild. Fair play to them. They know how to build. My first experience were playing with diehard furries, and honestly, broadened my horizons a little bit. I think I've become a little bit more accepting as a result. But I do think that recall trapping and trashing that guild is probably one of my AE high points. I doubt, I'd say.
Yeah, I do think when Wolf got stabbed and the guild name got changed to Not Safe for Wolf, that was probably the high point of Scott's entire Astro career.
I just think that was golden. And the worst thing about it was they got stabbed, but you know what? They stabbed themselves because they were literally talking to our allies about trashing our guild.
I'm going to use that. And they stabbed themselves.
They did. They pulled a knife and they stabbed it in themselves, because we got hard evidence that those guys had basically spoken to BFG about fucking over our guild pups at the time. And by the way, if you're a guild and you're the cluster leader and your training guild is better than you got problems. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, that can happen. Let's see. I guess, do you have any more dirt to spill for me? You've spilled so much dirt for me today.
Do you want to talk? I mean, I know that I can see that the poll results are saying that the Cancer Club are like with 9,000 votes there. They're like in second place to Scott. I don't know if that's kind of fair, to be honest, but the people have spoken.
Yeah, because Arky Scott thought that he could control China. A quote that will go down in history. He said, we set rules for China, so they can't bring more than 25 players. The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
I think people kind of repeat patterns, and I think if you're gonna be a massive Zerga dog, you need to just own it. Do you know what I mean? I think you just need to be, get a 50-man pre-made and hook up with some other 50-man pre-made. And if you do that for a few servers in a row, I think it's kind of a deserved reputation. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. FKA has bravely declared Scott is a fucking idiot. Don't know why he would say that out of nowhere.
I think, and as well, I mean, I've got some experience of working with the Cancer Club, as they're now known. I think they've got a bit of an undeserved reputation. They're actually a bunch of real tight, really good players. I think having played with those guys on Ares, I was actually the jump gate multi. I actually soloed their jump gates for them, and I think I did a pretty good job for that.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a lot of shit. And I think Scott got the blame for screwing over the Sega guys. And honestly, I believe it wasn't Scott. I think that was uncalled for. I think it was more likely that their bad security messed up. And I heard that actually it was one of their own players who was unhappy at the full-scale Zerg against the 3v1 guild, the Cancer Club.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard too, because they didn't. Cancer Crew definitely didn't claim any of that. But if we do look at the polls, the smallest Zerger on the server, Baylor, with only 7 votes, confirmed non-Zerger. Xeno, also not Zerging, only 10 votes. The Boomers, OPA, only 12 votes for their Zerging as well. So a lot of people are not Zerging.
I think Zerger is a Zerger does, you know what I mean? I think if you get a bunch of guys together as a pre-made and fight it out, that's not a Zerg. It's a Zerg when you've got a bunch of people. Like you take, I don't know, 6 times, 8 times the people you intend to fight. That's a Zerg. You know?
And in a shocking turn of events, a few boats have just popped in for Baylor and Xeno. I can't believe as soon as I mentioned it that people just started clicking and hitting F5. I can't believe it. This is a shocking turn of events.
The people have got something to say there. That's what I'm saying, you know.
You have some last-minute voters coming in with the truth. Oh boy.
So I mean, Nexus is an interesting server. I think somebody mentioned Xeno. I find Xeno a really reasonable guy to work with. I don't know why anybody wants to ball that guy out. He's actually quite reasonable. He's quite good.
I don't think he's unreasonable either. No.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about Deathwalker. I think Wolf on. Bear in mind, my experiences of Wolf came from Utopia, and I thought they were shitheads, but. Wolf on Nexus, totally different brand. I don't know what the score is. Now, I'd be interested to see what Wolf on Antares turns out to be. Yeah. You know, they're very different. Are they going to be the good guys? Are they going to be the extreme shitters? I don't know. I mean, I found that, I don't know if you agree with me, George, but there's 3 types of people in AE. And Scott knows this meme. I've spoken to him about it a lot. Basically, there's hitters, the people you want on your team, the people who go out, they're active, they're aggressive, they make hits. There's quitters, they're the people who talk a good talk, and then the minute their account gets bruised or they get trolled, they just quit. They're idiots. You don't want them in your guild at all. And then you've got the shitters. You've got the absolute gutter trash of the server who just talk utter shit. They're rubbish. They continue playing. They try hard, but they never quite make it. Or they just meme constantly. And with that kind of hitters, quitters, and shitters, you don't want to be a shitter, and you want to kill the shitters. That's what it's all about. It's about killing the bad guys. You know?
Yep, that's definitely true. I think Wodan, your poll has really struck a nerve with the entire Astro community. We've had over 24,000 responses. I didn't even know that many people were still playing the game.
I think it really captures the Astro Emperors community when you've got a poll that's been won by multis.
Yeah, no, you don't just accuse people of multiing. You need to have proof before you do that. But I think it's safe to say that your poll was a bigger magnet for Astro players than even 3.0 coming out was. That was a bigger deal for the entire community.
Well, this is the first. Antares, to be honest, has got a lot of potential. I think they've opened the 40s for the first time in what, 9 servers? I don't even count. But these new features, I hope Wizard is paying attention to this. I hope he kind of buys into this idea that we can actually change things after 10 years.
Yeah. Hopefully that means maybe we'll get some different, weirder balance changes in the future. I think just more. It's a 3.0, a 3.5. Just change something. Do something different.
I want to see like a 3.0 speed server. I want to see like, I don't know, Fog of War. Give me weird structure shapes of clusters. Give me anything. Just change it up. It makes it really interesting.
Yeah, give Wodan weird shapes. That's what he wants.
100%. 100%.
I will put that in a note to Wizard, and I will send that right over. But is there anything else you'd like to talk about today, Wodan?
Just shout out to all the crews that I play with. I think there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of backstabbing and stuff going on, but I think there's some real nice teams out there. There's a lot of real loyal guys. I play with a lot of different people. Played with the Boomers, played with the Cancer Club. I played with Scott and the guys. I've played with the guys back on Mystic. And you know what? There's a lot, and I've played with the kind of the Too Easy guys, the BFG, those guys as well. I've got respect for all those guys that have a tight team and play well. And this kind of this idea of server separation and people who can kind of be professional about it and not be dicks cross server. That people who can do that and who can be multiple servers in a row and actually do it, they've got a lot of respect.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Wodan. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Maybe we'll have you on again sometime. You never know. But again, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right, guys. That was Wodan. Had a lot to say about Antares to match up with the title of the show. But if you give us just a minute, we're going to get Seldon on here. Our next live interview. Probably going to do a little bit of reminiscing too. But give us just a minute and we'll be right back with Seldon.
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of annoying you had Wodan on before me, because his story's basically the same as mine. Yeah, fair enough. I forgot to message. Yes, it is Sandcastle Smasher, whoever that was in chat. Yeah, it's Sandcastle Smasher, Seldon, Nomi, I don't know. A few names.
Whoops, it turns out I had myself muted for the first 10 seconds. Great professionalism there. Love it. But yeah, we're going to do a little bit of reminiscing too, just talking about the old days. Even though it's the Antares News Network, there's not enough happening on the server to just talk about the server the whole time. There's just not.
Yeah, well, I'm up in 49 because I don't know really. Just got invited on Facebook, started up in 49 and messed around. Ended up in the 48-49 guild, which we really need to change the name.
I mean,
But-
really, it's like you have a spy for everyone. Oh my god, you just mouth breathed in your mic super hard. But because your guild name's 4849, everyone knows where you are now. And I guess, do you even have anything really big to say about Antares?
I don't know. It's been quite interesting because I don't think I played any 2.0. Never mind. I can't even remember if I played 1.5. So, yeah, I haven't played for like 7-8 years or something.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. I know that we met on Gamma when you were in Nam. I think you're in the 40s there.
Yeah, 49 again. That's why I started up in 49.
Nice.
Well, actually, the only servers I kind of really seriously played were Delta, Phoenix, Gamma, and I was in the 40s on Delta and Gamma.
One time you gave me an
my home.
account on like Nova or Lyra or some server that I wasn't playing. You just like messaged me out of the blue when I wasn't playing Astro at all and taking a break. And you gave me some account on some server, I remember.
I don't know.
How do I remember what you did better than you remember?
I used to drink a lot, so I don't really remember that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I remember I messed around on Nova or something, and in Lyra it was the USSV, was it? The like Russian theme meme guild or something.
Okay, yeah, I think it was Lyra then. Yeah.
Oh, I started that one. I just can't remember what happened with it.
There is a bad man in chat that is just fucking trashing you. He says you're an absolute rat, and I don't know why. He said you don't remember. Do you even know who this bad man 12 in chat is?
No.
No? Yeah, me neither.
Who is Badman 12?
He plays in the Scott crew. He's one of the Doge dogs. And he played like some old servers like Delta. He was the guy who DDoS the servers way back when. That's bad.
I probably know. It said Ajax represent. Ajax. What the fuck are Ajax?
I don't know what that means either. I didn't play Delta. I don't know.
I can't remember.
He says he doesn't know he's 12.
It's not it's me. I don't know.
Yeah, well, guess what, Badman? Thank you for contributing your question. I really appreciate it. So yeah, you played a few old servers, but you're still pretty well known. You posted a lot on forums, active in the chats and stuff like that. You were often coupled with Braver. When did you lose track of Braver? You and him were like peas in a pod.
Well, actually, I knew him from other games. We played a load of online games together, and I brought him across to Spaceboats, and we kind of partnered up and pretty much broke the game for a few years because, well, it was kind of funny with what Wodan was saying with Chansey trying to get him to flip on his allies because, yeah, we were a bit famous for that. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, you were like Chansey's like get around pact guys because you were close with Chansey and he'd be like, hey, we're doing this. I need you to sneak in here and backdoor him or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
that on Gamma.
Gamma and Nom was really, really good fun. I mean, we had a tiny little guild of like 20 people, but we kind of just wrecked the server.
You were super active, and you had a ton of caps, so you would get in, you'd levy smash people, and super risky ops. You'd have to derb your own guys and get them out all the time. I remember that.
Yeah, we always paid them back and stuff like that. But it was a really, really tight group. I mean, it was me, Braver, Denbar was another guy, Dez, I forgot Dez. I met Dez in real life. I went out for a drink with him a couple times. Even when I had to move apartments, no one could help me, so he picked me up and helped me move apartments. Like, we were a super tight group.
Yeah, what a guy.
It made playing really easy and fun. Because,
yeah, that's good.
Like, if you don't have to worry about people betraying you, you can do a lot more crazy things. Especially if you're a tiny guild, you could just go anywhere and do whatever you want. Yeah, we got a bit of a bad reputation, and the vacation mode as well.
You guys
that came
big.
up in chat earlier. We perfected that technique. Yeah, so that's when we first met the Pope guys.
Yeah, I remember
came
that.
Up to kind of kill us all, and we just went in vac mode. Yeah, that's when we got to retro.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were very aggressively VMers. I definitely remember that.
Yeah, we were getting worried near the end of the year because we'd run out of days of vac mode. I don't think that was normal for most, especially active people, to run out of vacation mode.
That's unusual for sure.
Yeah, but I had like a good time. I had a nice mix of everything. I mean, on Phoenix, I was in Dibs, which was kind of the first proper pre-built pre-server guild.
Yeah, I remember Dibs being a big deal on Phoenix.
Yeah, and it was a lot of the Poke guys, I think, were in Rave in the 20s or something. And then there was the teens. But Dibs was, I think, kind of the guild that really broke the game because we started the pre-built pre-server guilds. So to compete with Dibs, the next server, everyone had to do it, and then people did it more and more and more. And then at the same time, that's when they started releasing the servers every 6 months instead of every year. So I think it caused a lot of burnout, which caused a lot of people to start quitting.
I didn't even know they used to do servers 1 year apart. Is that true? That sounds made up.
No, it was 1 year for a new server, I think. I think it was after Phoenix or Gamma it became 6 months.
But you think Dibs was the first guild to pre-recruit for server? Because I don't think that's accurate. I remember Hi-Ho on SETI was one of the first guilds to pre-recruit.
Really?
I think so.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I know it really mastered the technique though, kind of. After that, it was the only way anything could be done.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure it started, really started on SETI. Not everyone was doing it, but I'm pretty sure that some guilds were actually doing it on SETI. But I mean, Dibs probably recruited a bunch of good players. That was probably their strategy: get good players and makes it a lot easier. Because back then, there were still tons of just bad players at the game. It wasn't completely figured out. There wasn't as much information openly available.
Yeah, it was weird back then because people didn't know everything going on. Even stuff like properly fighter raping P-rings and stuff like that was kind of back. Yeah. Shub, that was his name. Thanks, Teddy. I was trying to remember his name. Shub. Yeah. But no, it was good. But I got to do the whole big guild ruling the server. On Gamma, I got to do the little guild messing around. And then after that, I moved countries, and it was hard to be active, and I kind of didn't really have much to do anymore.
But yeah, because you moved somewhere Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah, I moved to Bulgaria. I went there on holiday for a couple months, and that was 9 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen, Scott was the first Bulgar boy, yeah. And Cactus ended up coming out to visit, so did FKA and Compulse.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually had a little, I did meet FKA. Yeah.
Seldon Cancer Crew confirmed.
Is that what Cancer Crew is? Because I've been out of the game for years. I don't know what any of the group names are anymore.
You couldn't figure out that they were the most cancerous people?
I don't know. All right. When I think of FKA, all I think is, can I be a bit mean and tell the story?
Oh, absolutely.
He got shit-faced and fell off my balcony. He landed on a table below the balcony. And when we got home from the club we were at, he was wrapped up in a plastic sheet under the sofa. Yeah, we kind of banned him from going out that night because he was being a bit rude to some people because he got really drunk the night before. Are you okay, George?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
oh my god.
I mean, I kind of just said I was famous back in the day. Yeah. So, and I met quite a few people, to be honest. Like I said, Cactus came over at the same time. Or was it the same time? I can't remember if it was the same time. But...
Oh my god, that is a fantastic story. I'm so glad you were able to bring that up because I'm sure that was mostly kept a secret until now. That is fantastic.
Was it? I don't think it was a secret.
I didn't know it, so it must have been a secret.
Oh, Frosty's got another FKA story.
Another lovely tale. He got super drunk and tried to sleep in the snow at 10 degrees minus 10 Celsius. That's pretty cold. Yeah, the Doge Dogs of Scott. They were trying to get everyone to come over and meet up in the U.S. this summer, but Corona has kind of screwed that. So I don't think we're all going to get together this year. So Disappointing.
I think. I mean, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't bother flying to the US for that, even Corona or not. But again,
Oof.
at the same time, Corona's probably brought so many people back. Obviously, that's why I'm back.
Yeah.
I got messaged on Facebook.
Who messaged you on Facebook?
Vlado. The problem is I can't remember which one it was. Vlado was either Hash or Stella, and I've forgotten who.
Either Hash or Stella. Yeah, they both played the server. No, Stella is Nemanja, so that's probably Hash.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been Hash or Stella. I really forgot who. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, sorry. I know it's one of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I said, message me to come on. I was like, yeah, why not? I'm working online, so I'm sat in front of my computer all day.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's quite easy to be active.
Yeah, 3.0 has done a really great job of making people just start playing again. Say, hey, let's 3.0 and give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah, well, I'm wondering like how planned this was, because obviously I didn't see stuff before. So if Wizards just kind of rushed it through to get it started, that's kind of genius, really.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think it still was. I don't think he rushed it up. I think this was still 6 months since whatever. I think Nexus came out. Let me pull up Nexus and see how old Nexus is.
Yeah. Well, it's extremely good luck if it was already planned.
Oh
before,
no,
because...
it was 6 months after Nexus came out. So
okay.
Nope. Wizard didn't play in anything.
Unless maybe Wizard been promoting eating bats and stuff to get everyone. Oh, what was the joke? Some guy ate a bat in China, and now I'm playing space boats again. Yeah, but no, it's interesting being back, especially with it being version 3 and everything being slightly different with the mechanics. I keep seeing names running across the ticker, and it just like clicks something in my head, but that's about it.
Yeah, this has been the biggest like return of players forever, and it's basically big thanks to Corona, because it's not like Wizard advertised for it. It's only the existing players see it when he posts on Facebook, a new server comes out in a week, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. They probably should have like done a big advertising push or something, because I don't know how a lot of people started. A lot of it seemed to be either through someone who already plays. Or...
I started Astro on Phoenix because I saw it in like a banner ad somewhere.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
banner ad as well.
I haven't seen an Astro ad in, I don't know, probably the day after I saw the one that got me starting playing it. So
yeah, I think it was on like O Game or something I played, which is basically the same game, really. But
yeah,
yeah. Well, everyone uses ad block now, so you kind of don't see the banner ads.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's been good being back. Like it's the same old game, really. Like the same things are happening, but
yeah, and you're getting to just meme it up in the 40s, so you're getting to just like kind of like play for fun, which just kind of gets lost when you play in like the serious guilds. You don't. You're more focused on winning than just having fun.
Yeah. It's been interesting. There's been a load of ninja fleets up, so I'm looking at my account now, and like 5 of my bases have been hit by ninjas. That's not particularly fun, because I even started a week later than everyone else up here, so I'm on like day 18 or something, so I'm like halfway behind the people starting. But yeah, I just ended up kind of floating into this guild again, like what Wodan said. He just started up on the stream basically and joined the random guild, and I've ended up doing that. But it's all right. It's interesting being up here.
Yeah.
And Mojo's interviews for next week instead of today. So.
Yeah, I'll probably push Mojo's back just because we're so over schedule. Because I've got to grab my kids soon, and yeah, his interview is short. I can fit it in on like some other show where I need more time or something like that. So,
yeah, but it's interesting seeing that just me being in a guild. We're also like the first to backstab an ally, and I joined the guild for like 2 days. No terrible things are usually happening again.
Yeah.
Happening like usual. But I know it's good being back. It's interesting. It'd be nice to see some more changes. I think I don't know again when the member limit for guilds was reduced. Is that new for this?
I think it happened on the prior server on Nexus. They changed it to 50 in a guild. So that's new. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because that seems like a nice change. But I don't know. It's hard because it needs some changes, but obviously if they change too much, it's kind of ruining the game.
I mean, the true problem with getting new players to actually play the game and keep playing it is the community. It's because we don't trust any random new players because everyone tries to get spies in, and multing is super rampant, and people have tons of long-term multis that have been spies in accounts for years. It's like we've done it to ourselves. People don't want to play the game because we've made it so hard for new players to actually get into the game. Because like how many guilds that are in the 0s through the 30s are accepting in random members?
I mean,
Not mine, not OPA.
I got in, but at the same time,
Well, you're
I'm
in the
using my
40s. You're in
old
the
name.
meme cluster.
Yeah, true. And someone recognized my name as well, so
Yeah.
that kind of helps.
Yeah.
I mean, even just starting up in 49, I ended up getting a message from now one of my guildmates, someone I know from a previous server, who basically did the same thing. So we're just messing around the two of us at first, because don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
pretty much.
I don't know. Yeah, the community has always been the best and the worst thing for AA, because it's good fun, but some people take it too seriously. Like even like Megadeth was saying earlier, like we all kind of have the same interest, like strategy games, being bored on the internet. So it's, I don't know, actually having like bad blood was always weird. Like taking it too far with spies and multis. I don't know. We did it to ourselves, really.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Like most games that have like a small community, you think there would be like some overarching respect, like just across the community, and there isn't. There just isn't.
Well, it's also kind of the best thing about the game as well. Like we're terrible, but it's the most fun part, but it's also the worst part about it.
Yep.
But yeah, people take it a bit too far sometimes.
Yep, could be. Yep. Oh, well, do you think you're about done reminiscing, Seldon? Do you have anything else you need to get off your chest?
I'm trying to think of anything else. Trying to think if FKA did anything else stupid in Bulgaria.
Oh, that's something I would love to hear about. But falling off a balcony, I mean, how are you going to top that?
It was only the first floor. Like, it didn't fall that far.
Oh, so he just like fell over a railing?
Oh yeah, slept with my roommate.
Oh,
nice. Thanks for reminding me, Cactus.
Nice.
I don't know, but like I said, it's a good community. It would just be nice if we could all just get along. Like play some war. Why can't we be friends? Yeah. But I don't know. Like reminiscing wise, that's kind of it. Like it's interesting being back, but I got no idea what's happened with the server. And like I said, I didn't even know what Cancer Crew meant until 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, you've been out for that long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
Abe is right. Fuck friends.
Years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fuck friends.
Yeah. Fuck friends. Yeah, see, kind of proving the point with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on, Seldon. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, reminiscing.
My pleasure, man.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, thanks so much for coming on the news. This was headline news from Seldon. Again, thanks, Seldon. Have a good one.
See ya, man. Bye.
All right. I think this show has gone on for a very long time today. So, yeah, Mojo's interview is recorded. Like, I could play that now, but I think people are starting to wear out, and I might be able to play Mojo on, like, a future week. This is just run... I think it's run too far. I think if I play a recorded interview after all this, people are just going to scoot on out. So I'm going to save it for next week. I mean, it's not too long, but this show has run a long time, so we're going to sneak it into the next one. That's some fake news advertising for me. But I do want to thank everyone for watching again, following, subscribing, etc. All that great stuff. I really appreciate it because I put in lots of hours every week to put these things together. So I really appreciate it. The ANN will be back again next week. I don't think I have any guests officially lined up yet, aside from a possible Zahaga. So if you got something going on, let me know so we can talk about it on the news. If you have something else or you want to come on, reach out to me, Discord, in-game. My name is Jord Exotic. You can message me on Twitch. There's a whole variety of ways you can get to me. You don't have to be a guild leader. I know that's how most people have been because you get the GMs on because you see those names when you look at the guilds, but the ANN doesn't discriminate based on rank. And I have something to actually add to this that, again, I want to put the word out. I'm looking for the best accounts on the server that I can't see their stats on. from like the stats page. Cloak messaged me about, I don't know, probably an hour ago at this point. Cloak has already built base 13, so unless anyone else has something else to say about it, Cloak is the first base teener, best base account on the server until proven otherwise. Yep, if you think you have the highest prod camp, you get the first base 14, the most ox, something cool, just let me know. I want to talk about it. And while it is public knowledge that I am an OPA, I will ask that if you do have a secret scoop, that if you're like thinking about planning an invasion, in theory, from the 10s to 09, I can be surprisingly discreet about your op. Belwar messaged me on like Tuesday. He's like, "Hey, you might want to make a slot for me on the news. I'm playing at something up my sleeve." Like, it wasn't hard to put together that he's going from 10 to 09 because that's where his cluster's back up. But it's like, I was glad he gave me the scoop. It turns out they weren't able to land, so we couldn't do a big thing on it. But he's putting in the effort for the news. Belwar, best GM, confirmed. Yep, so if you're planning on something and want to talk about the potential aftermath, let me know. I want to get that on the news. And if you want to have multiple reps on your guild, like the Wolf Boys did, let's get more people on. That's not a problem at all. Again, you can message me in-game at Jord Exotic. Discord, you can find me in my name's Jordash7k on the unofficial Discord. I'm in there. Twitch, you see it right now. Wherever you can find me, if you're interested, let me know. Oh, and check out that warzone.com. It's that same turn risk game. I want to play that soon. I didn't get to talk about it before because we were running out of time. Way back in the day, we used to play warlight.net. It was like a same turn risk game in Astro. But they changed the name. I don't even know when. It's been so long. But back when people actually played Warlight during Astro, that was like 10 some years ago. But people used to play it a lot. I want to play more of that. So just, I don't know, look that up if you get some time. But as always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And I'll see you all on the next one.